Good morning, everyone. Gosh, it's a beautiful day. Let me know you can hear me today. How are you? I'm coming at you live here on my public page, the Journey to Freedom, and also on YouTube this morning. I'm in a beautiful courtyard. If you missed it this morning, I was on the sunrise after the sunrise this morning, right from the beach. But I want to talk to you about patience today versus waiting. I think this is a really good topic. I was thinking about it for myself. And how many times we're waiting versus cultivating our patience. So I'm in this beautiful courtyard here. If you look around, beautiful landscape, just a beautiful, beautiful garden here, and beautiful day so far. Sun is out, and just enjoying the morning. So I want to bring you some value today. First of all, I can't tell if my signal is good. I trust that you'll be able to give me some thumbs up on that the signal's coming across. Sometimes there's a slight delay, but I'm here and I'm going to get into the topic. So if you're maybe catching this on the playback, we don't want to lose cadence. We want to keep momentum going. And I want to talk to you about patience versus waiting. And the first thing I think about when you think about patience versus waiting is that waiting, I'm going to jump right in. So the distinction for me is that waiting is this like anxious feeling. It's this feeling that someone else or something has to happen in order for us to feel a certain way, to get moving, to get clarity, all the different things. So we sit there and we're waiting. Typically, we're waiting on someone. We're waiting on someone else to change or a circumstance to change before we can feel a certain way or have some kind of peace of mind about it. So that's so think about that for yourself. I mean, and ask yourself, be real. Like, are you waiting for something to happen? Versus to me, that the patience is knowing that I am working towards something great and having the ability to sit back and enjoy it. So good morning, everyone. Check in with yourself this morning. And I want to share, we're talking about patience versus waiting. I have a quote for you. I have a question to ask you. And also, I want to talk to you or let you know today in history, have you ever heard of the name Edward H. White II? Edward H. White II. Now, if you're like me, you haven't heard of that name. I got the palm trees behind me. So, would love to say good morning to you. Let me know if you're here. Hopefully it's coming across. Can you hear me okay? Edward H. White II was the second man to walk in space. The first American and the second man to walk in space. You don't often hear that name. I never knew that name. But the reason why I'm sharing it, and it talks about patience, when John F. Kennedy said we're going to put a man on the moon, I forget what year that was, maybe in the early 60s, 60 maybe, whatever it was. Then there was a 61 space mission. We put a man in space. We got into space. 65, a man walks in space. And then, as we know, Neil Armstrong walks on the moon, and I believe that was 69. It was about just call it 10 years, roughly, a 10-year that we know of window. And think about that, the patience that was required there. So I wanted to share that with you. And the other thing is, we don't often hear about the earlier victories, do we? We don't often hear about the victories of that preclude or precede the big victories. We hear about Neil Armstrong walking on the moon. But think about this. What is it in your life that you need patience with? And are you waiting? And let me just be clear. I want to share this because a lot of times I've found myself in this space where I'm waiting for someone else to do something. I'm waiting, that person, when they do that, then I can do this. And to me, that's not where we want to be. Patience is that we are working toward something and we know that something great is going to happen. And here's the quote I want to share with you today. I want to share this quote with you. And I want to get some feedback from you. I want to ask you a question here today. And let's see where I'm at. Okay. So anyway, I'm outside in this courtyard. It's kind of moisture everywhere, but I got a dry spot here. All right. The sun hit right here. Yeah, look at this. This is, I just have to share this with you because I love it. Got the palm trees here. Got some nice landscaping back here. It's a beautiful little courtyard. So let me read this quote to you right now that I picked up. I really love this. So it says this. Good morning, Jenna. It says this. Take a breath. There we go. Patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order than the one you have in mind. Think about this, right? And I would add, I'm going to add my own little variation to this quote said by David G. Allen. Patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different order or a different way than the one we have in mind. I really think that's the culmination of that. We say all the time, give yourself time, space, and grace, because most of the time we're measuring ourselves on expectations that we've created in our mind that are unrealistic, or they're based on some other preconceived notion, and it has to look a certain way. It's like if I'm growing these flowers here, see these beautiful flowers, see these? Yeah, see them? Right? And you look at these beautiful flowers here. And if those flowers, if I said they have to look a certain way, right, I would be limiting the growth of what can happen. But if I'm like taking care of the patience, I plant, I water, I fertilize, I have patience in knowing, I rest in knowing that something great is going to happen, albeit it's not what I think it's going to be. I can't really even determine what these flowers are going to look like. I may know what kind of flowers they are. I may know the colors. Of course, I know the thing, but they all have some kind of unique flair or unique deviation that they're gonna express in the world. So here we go. Thank you for the hearts, everyone. Good morning. I just want to bring you some inspiration today to start your day. I want to give you the things to avoid, because as somebody who's done this and caused anxiety and stress for myself, avoid comparing yourself. When you compare yourself, you're thinking you have to be a certain place or a certain way, and you lose your patience, and you're thinking, I got to have it now. Anxiety sets in. Avoid waiting on an external force to show up for you. Avoid hinging everything on some other person or something else changing so that you can have some kind of peace, or have some kind of knowingness that, okay, now it's good, that person showed up. I found whenever I'm waiting for someone, I'm causing myself stress. And it doesn't mean that I'm like, of course, if I'm waiting on somebody to, there's somebody, but even in this case, let's say I hired somebody for a job and I'm waiting on them and they're not showing up. Well, at some point I got to make a decision. I'm going to move on, right? So are you comparing yourself right now, or are you waiting on something external to show up for you? Avoid thinking it's too late or you missed it. That's the other thing that we can do, is we can think that we missed it or we're too late. We're at a stage where whatever, and then we're taking away our patience. And I say this: patience comes from peace. Patience comes from peace. And what I wrote down is, and it says patience is a virtue. I mean, I'm not telling you that's nothing new. But here's what I want to say. The Tao Te Ching says that when one has achieved peace or reached a state of peace, one has reached one's destiny. So think about, if peace, if you can reach peace in this moment, you're going to have patience, right? Because you're going to have that trust. You're going to have that knowingness, just like the quote says. Patience is the calm acceptance that things can happen in a different way than the one that you have in mind. So if I can have patience in that, I'm going to, if I have peace in knowing that this is going to work out some way, it's going to work out. It may not be what I think. And therein lies the challenge. I want it to be this way. And see, this is where it's like, we want to have vision. We want to have a goal. We want to have an expectation. But it's when we become rigid, and it has to be that way, that's when we break. And in that breaking, there's a breaking down and something new ultimately emerges. But I want you to, for today's message, I really want you to think about what area of your life needs the most patience. What area of your life needs the most patience? Do you need patience with yourself because you're trying to force yourself into something? Perhaps you need patience on a big goal, a dream you're working on, and you want it to be a certain way. Perhaps you can say, perhaps you can have patience in saying, okay, this is going to work out. It may be different than what I think, but I'm okay with that. Like, can I have that patience? And you see how interconnected patience and peace are? If you don't have that, you're causing yourself anxiety and stress because you want something to work out a certain way. It has to be this way. It's stressful. It's stressful. See if you can step into a different way today. Can you create the knowingness that this is going to work out? And maybe you can lean into a past moment where you were stressed and it worked out better than you thought. I found that when I shift gears and I can move into patience, and it doesn't mean I'm sitting back, right? That's the difference. Patience could be I'm working, I don't see the results yet. But my patience comes from the knowingness that it's going to work out exactly the way it's supposed to work out. And what I've found is that when I can get into that state of mind, here's the beautiful thing, it works out better than I ever thought it could be. It works out better than I imagined. But when I'm in an anxious state, it works out worse. You see the difference here? And I was almost going to do this topic was almost going to be on quantum physics. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. And one of the things I wrote down was, are you impacting or just, are you impacting? You are a catalyst. Every interaction, you are a catalyst for change. But it depends on where you're coming from. Are you coming from patience, peace? Or are you coming from fear, stress, and anxiety? Because it has to be a certain way. There's freedom and liberation when you can let go. And many people have the paradox in their mind is if I let go, I'm quitting, I'm giving up. It's just the opposite. It's a different letting go. It's a letting go and trusting what you can't control. We must have patience in doing the things that we can control. Like this morning, it's wet everywhere. It's like I had to find a position here. I just trust that the right thing's going to come out. I just trust. I plan this stuff. I get into these mornings. So my intention is that I want to provide inspiration that moves your heart, stirs your soul, gives you something of value. But, I go through the planning process of it, but you can't always know the way it's going to turn out. And it's back to these flowers, right? Like I was using these flowers as an example. I could know the seed I planted. I could know what they look like. But until it actually sprouts and grows, will I truly know what it's going to look like? But I have to trust that if I'm watering it, I'm planting it, it's going to turn out. But how many people have killed plants before? Am I the only one? You water it and fertilize it, and sometimes it dies. Sometimes it doesn't work out, right? But what do? Do we get angry? And do I look at the thing and I say, this thing, I'm pissed off, or do I get back, grab some new seed, plant some new seed, and start again, and water and fertilize and do it again and put it on repeat and just keep doing it and just keep doing it and cultivate the patience that and I think that, again, I'm going to close this out here, but I'm going to read that quote for you one more time because I think it's valuable. I would say peace and patience are they're interconnected. And if you can just cultivate this patience inside that things are going to work out, but they may not work out to what you think they are. They could work out better. But we have to be willing to let go of controlling the things we can't control. We can only control what we can control. And that means if I'm here, I can control that I want to take one step forward. I can control that I want to take another step forward and another step forward. I can control that. But I can't control if you're in front of me. I could try to control you and I could try to make you take a step and I could try to push you, but that's not patience, right? Patience is I pour into you and I say, I want this person to take a step. I pour into the person. And if they don't step, it's up to them and I'm okay with it. But somewhere down the line, they may take that step when I'm not around and I'm not there, but I accept it and I walk away in peace. So the Tao Te Ching says that when we cultivate inner peace, we reach our destiny. So again, what area of your life needs the most patience? What area of your life needs the most patience? And can you draw on some kind of inner peace, knowing that things are going to work out exactly as they're supposed to? Your job is to control what you can control. Have patience. Avoid waiting for some external force. Avoid comparing yourself. Avoid thinking it's too late or that this is all there is or it had to be this way and I missed it. Avoid that. Certainly you may have missed out on some said thing. But as far as I know, for years uncounted, life continues to show up. Life continues to give birth. Life continues to grow. And new things are constantly on the horizon if we can just simply open our eyes up to it. So I just want to leave you that message today and say, what area of your life needs the most patience? And I go back to time, space, and grace with yourself. Cultivate your patience, cultivate your peace. Have an awesome day. God bless.